Warriors, what's good? Hope all is well with everybody. So I just went on like a 40-minute rant, but I am not about to post that. I think I just needed to get it off my chest more than anything else because of all of these shifts that we're going through. A couple weeks ago, I kept getting this intuitive hit that something was coming around the 16th to the 19th. So I was waiting for the message so I can kind of come on here and just share it with you guys. But nothing ever came, but I definitely can see a shift in the energy. And I don't know about you guys, but the last week and a half or so, my dreams have just been off the hook. I'm talking about, I'm not even about to say what I saw in my dream, but I'm saying that because there's somebody that I know, one of my folks, they'll see this and they'll completely understand what I'm saying. And then after having all those dreams, just trying to meditate on what that meant because it was so vivid, so clear, I couldn't sleep anymore. So I haven't been to sleep in like 3 days. Just kind of like analyzing what a lot of this may mean. And I did something that I normally don't do the last day and a half or so. Spent quite a bit of time on social media, which I really don't do that often. Make sure no snake don't fall out of the tree on me. So yeah, I just kind of been cruising social media, just trying to check it out to see if I couldn't make sense of what I was kind of seeing in these dreams. And a lot of it, y'all heard that? It just fell out of the tree. I know I heard a snake. Trying to just analyze what I've been seeing in these dreams. So going through social media, which I normally don't do, and honestly, I had to get off of it because it was like physically making me sick, honestly. I've seen more murders on social media than I care to see, Not just black folks, I'm talking about all kinds of deaths. And it's just like people become very numb to it, which I noticed, but me looking at it was a whole nother thing. And I was like, man, there's a lot of bots and people are just checked out and lost souls. I mean, people openly on camera talking about how they've sold their souls for monetary gain. Opening channels and they say it so willy-nilly, like, oh, I work at X, Y, and Z, and I saw a vampire and this, that, and other, and I was like, well, they got money. I'm like, what the and you can see, well, I can, because the eyes never lie. The eyes never lie. If I look at somebody in the eyes, I can see exactly what the fuck is going on with them, whether they want me to or not. And I'm like, okay, man, with all of these planets that have just aligned in this house of Aries, we're seeing a lot of what is the new age right now, right? Coming into effect, But at the same time, like, we're seeing the end of the world, as they called it in a lot of the religious books, which was the end of an age, especially in Revelations. You can see it clearly. And those that have a better understanding of this knowledge are trying to create their own narrative because they know if, how do I put this? If you can influence consciousness, collective consciousness as a whole, then you can force that reality into existence. And if that's too much for you to understand, I get it, man. But you'll get it eventually. But this is for those that honestly understand what this means. And I guess this part of the message is for the men. We got to take a lot of us are, but we got to continue to take a stance. But we can't be divided. And what I mean divided is divided by history. I get it. Lots and lots and lots of lies. Lots and lots and lots of pain, shame, guilt, all kinds of shit. Blame. Trauma. And I'm just talking about here on this landmass, and because those that have been in control for so long have done an incredible job of controlling the narrative because of what they understood about conscious thought and redirecting, they made the truth sound like a lie. And many people resent the truth, which is causing us not to be able to move forward in a way that we can have solid footing across the board where there's an acceptance on both sides, on all sides. And then, when you look at what they call so-called minority bullshit, those that are empowered have done a great job of turning allies into enemies when you don't matter either. And I would say it's a status thing because it kind of is to some degree, the haves and have-nots. But that's not completely true either, because I know people who have, and they have a great heart, and they want to help, but they're ostracized just like everybody else. So there's a lot of division. And with that kind of division, the group of people that are on the scramble that do a great job of manipulating and recruiting people in our government have a larger play at hand. And if you think this wasn't already planned, I'll just say this. I've been very fortunate to have some very interesting mentors in life. And what we're seeing right now, no lie, a mentor of mine had a dinner meeting with some individuals who were discussing exactly what's happening right now in 2015. I want to say more. I'm not, though. So what am I talking about? I'm saying certain organizations just got $74 billion. And I think they said something about the capacity, facilities with the capacity to hold 100,000 beds. Let's leave that there. Like I said, I only known about this 11 years ago. I knew this was coming. But the play has been in motion longer than that. So, my message to the men, because collectively, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of strong men. I connect with a lot of strong men, especially on my page. There's tons of strong men. Fathers and law enforcement, or, whatever it is that they do. Hustlers, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I know them all. But man, we're going to have to come on a common accord if you love living in this country. If you call yourself an American. And no, I don't use color codes, but if I have to say for, if I have to use certain language for people to understand what I'm saying, when I say color codes, like, I don't identify as black and all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am from America. And that's a very strong reason why you should stop doing that too. Especially what's going on now, what we've seen in the UN, and the play that's at hand. You know, like, the level of corruption is astronomical. And people playing on their top. And the funny thing is, the people who know the truth, people look at them like they crazy or they're extremist. Some of them are, but that's because they haven't checked their emotions. They're just not balanced. They're not grounded enough to understand that coming at it from that angle completely is not really going to get them the desired result. It'll bring more karma versus prosperity, which is what I believe that they're looking for. And you say, well, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I don't really give a shit what you think. I'm just putting it out there for people who want to think about what I'm saying. But you definitely have to understand that we have to come together on more of a common accord. And I'm saying the men, because they say that easy time make weak men. And we can see a lot of the younger generations, not all of them, but a lot of them are weak. And that's all of our fault. But I can tell you this, tough times are coming. They're already here. And it's going to require strong men that are willing to stand together. And if you only want to deal with people from your community, okay, that's fine. But what I'm telling you is, you're not strong enough to do it that way. That you can have your own communities and things like that. That's fine. But you're going to have a common accord to be able to work with each other. Because everybody who look like you don't think like you. And that's just a fact. And that's why I always say I deal with people who have a soul. That's my personal moral code. I deal with people who have a soul. And people who don't have a soul are my enemies. Because love conquers all. But it has to be a love of self and a love of truth, which will require a certain level of self-mastery. And I know that kind of sounds like it's just being wordy, but it's actually the truth. You know, like I watched this president from Ghana. You know, I don't know him personally, but all I know is that at one point in time he was the lawyer for one of my mentor's business partners. Saying, like, I had some really interesting mentors. So when he got up there talking about the worst crime in humanity, I already knew the plot. I already knew the play. And it's been by design for sure that this genocide was created. You know, I mean, I know people don't really, they say half of history is lost. You know, I forget. I think it said like every 50 years or some shit like that or whatever. You know, people forget things really quick. So the orphan trains and what the Cabbage Patch Kids and all that kind of stuff, I get it. I know people don't really understand it. They don't really care because they're living in the moment. And it's like, why does that matter to me? Because they've been conditioned into wanting shit that don't have any real true substance or holds any true value. And we got so many people that are lost and dealing with mental health issues. Man, we weak. But like I say, tough times make strong men. You can believe that. So I don't know exactly what's coming, but like I said, these budgets that have been approved and people that are on the scramble that a lot of people really don't want to deal with because of what they represent and how history was like falsely doctrine, especially with the wars, especially with the wars. I'm talking about like, man, shoot, I'm talking about you would honestly have to go back at least to the 1300s minimum to kind of understand the state that we're in now. And, you know, this is something I kind of dedicated my life to because I always wanted to know the truth. But now I know so much, it's hard for me to like really have a conversation. So I just try to meet people where they are. And that kind of makes people hate you. I got a lot of weirdos that be watching my page, stalking me. Some of them already know who they are. They just some haters, creating fake profiles and shit like that. It's a lot of them. That's why I opened my page up. For a long time, my page was closed. But I opened it up because I knew I was about to shift. My message was about to shift. What I knew I was going to start speaking on to some degree. And it was also a sign for them to let them know that time was up, you know. And y'all know who y'all are, my enemies. The ones that pretend like, you know, shit is sweet because I ain't say nothing, but a lot of you are dealing with your own shit right now. You don't think I don't know what you're going through? Yes, I do. But we'll just leave that there. But back to what we was talking about. I love having conversation with other strong men, especially the ones that are not from the same kind of background I'm from, because then it gives me a chance to learn and be receptive so that I can continue to expand in my consciousness. And like I said, what I found is many of us are more alike than we are different. At just the common core level, just want to just be able to take care of our own and have respect. And, you know, I honestly feel like there's things that have been put in place to come against those liberties. Our food is tampered with. Education is flawed. You know, all the things that we already know. So like I said, easy times, you see what it produced. So now we about to go into hard times. And things will get better, but not before all this shit that's like not properly aligned gets it together. We're going to have to get sick of it. We're going to have to get tired of it. And then we're going to have to be able to come on a common accord. We don't have to agree on everything, but we got to respect each other. And we got to be able to be truthful. And it's going to take the men to do it. It's going to have to be the men. It's going to have to be the men. Start with yourself. And then those within your inner circle that think like you. And then you can connect with other groups, communities, whatever the case may be, on issues that you can align for. And like within the copper colored, now even though I'm not gonna get into color codes, just melanated people, native people. But I gotta say it because most of you don't even know that you're native. You think that that's like a myth, some fictional shit. But those of you in my community, this we put it like that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm kind of like, well, they call me a black sheep, but more like a wolf. Once you step to me, you thought I was a sheep, a black sheep, but then you find out I'm actually a wolf, and I do bite. We've been sold so much crap. These institutions that were handed to us, man, you already know all of them. I don't rock with any of them. I just don't. But I like to talk to people, though. I talk to you one-on-one as a man. I'll connect with you on building something, you know, or come into an agreement with you in a certain way. But once these institutions get into play and they get up there and they give you this fancy speech, you know what I'm saying, like they do on Sunday morning, and get you all tap dancing and dancing and got you on this emotional high, and then they tell you to come up to the altar and tell you to kneel before this altar. And you do it. You get up there and you kneel before, you give your power away. And then you wondering why you struggling. Okay, I gotta let it go. So it's just a lot of work that need to be done, you know. So I mean, I guess this message was more for me than anybody else. But yo, anybody else just kind of seeing that, like, yo, man, this is really hitting the fan, and it doesn't have to be horrible, but we gotta just be very vigilant that life is changing on every level, and hate is not going to do anything for you. But anything coming against your peace, you damn sure got the right to fight for it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not telling you to be docile, because I'm not. I damn sure not. But I'm just not against people because they're different. Anybody who's willing to rock with the truth, I can rock with you. Like I said, my moral code is more or less, I can deal with anybody who got a soul. And if you don't, you damn sure my enemy. And I will take you out. No question about it. So let's get off this line. Like I said, I did a 40-minute rant before. I couldn't do that. I'm not going to post that. I hope there's something within this that'll help somebody. But I just been feeling a lot of shift in the energy, man. Tons of it. So I'm staying in prayer and sending out good energy. But I won't be getting on here all the time, because I've learned that you have to operate out of the overflow. So after I fill my own cup up, self-love, self-care, and the overflow, I can come and give. And you should practice that too. Take care of yourself first, then give. Because then you're more in alignment to continue to move forward. So I hope this helps to some degree. I'm going to get on with my walk. Hopefully a snake won't fall out of the tree on me, but you know, this is where I need to be right now, just out in nature. So I love y'all. I feel like I'm going to have something to say at another point. I just don't know when. I'm dealing with quite a bit. I see many of you are too. Those that are dealing with health or dealing with setbacks because of this crap with the government. I feel you. These jokers ain't paid me in 12 weeks. So it's just been side hustles, making moves. But the great thing about it is I alchemized all of that energy. And I've been able to be very productive in this time period, to the point of where I already see where my life is beginning to shift to. And it has a lot to do with the strength and the fortitude I needed to have to occupy the space that I'm standing in now. So just take that. I salute y'all. Love y'all. Talk to you soon. Peace.